Next up, we have to talk about a very controversial recall election in the Hyogo province, which has resulted in quite a surprising or stunning political comeback. This is for the governor Motohiko Saito. Again, as always, apologies for any mispronunciations. Now, the way this recall election in Hyogo province occurred is, I believe, there was a sort of a bullying and abuse of power scandal, and the accusations levelled against Saito are that he was sort of a bit of a bullying figure. He's been accused of bullying, yelling in his position as governor, and also that he may have been accepting gifts or leveraging gifts from local business leaders, which is inappropriate for a governor as well. Those were the accusations levelled against him. There was an investigation ongoing from a whistleblower, and since this occurred, I believe that whistleblower then later very tragically turned up as having committed suicide, which obviously is a horrible outcome as a result of this, for anyone to do that. And so that casted a very long and reflected very poorly on Saito. Now, what I believe happened is he declined to resign off the back of this, and instead the local government, the prefecture, had a vote and of no confidence in Saito, and as a result of that, he was forced to step down as governor, and a runoff election, a recall election, was called. Now, Saito decided to run in that election, and he ran a very energized social media campaign, and in fact has won, which is quite stunning given the scandal hanging over him and the situation that caused this election. I believe this could have happened for a few factors. One is potentially the timing of it. The fact that there's been sort of no firm charges or criminal charges against Saito and no sort of published conclusions sort of has left things hanging in the air a little bit. Additionally, as I say, Saito ran a very energized campaign on social media. He had figures like Takashi Tachibana, the former or possibly current leader of the anti-NHK party, who was posting lots of videos defending Saito and saying that he strongly supported him. And I believe it was a very sort of Trumpian campaign where he was sort of portraying himself as the victim of the organized elites who forced him out of office, and he was sort of just looking to serve the people. And he's been undermined by sort of elite interests. It basically was how, and he was sort of portraying himself as being hounded out as a result of that. That played into his favour. This strong social media campaign sort of changed the narrative around him. Another reason is that his time in office as the governor of Hyogo seems to have had fairly high approval ratings. I believe he had something like 76 approval of his term in office. And also the scandal wasn't seen as the top priority for a lot of voters. There was more focused on his performance as governor, future policies, that sort of thing. And only about 10% of people named the scandal as their top priority. Also, it was a very splintered election. I believe there was a record 7 candidates ran in Hyogo. One of them was Tachibana, who was sort of, as I say, running interference for him, and he was running on a support Saito platform. But the other 5 were sort of splintering potential opposition to Saito among themselves. And the LDP also didn't enter an official candidate. They sort of left it up to their representatives as to who they wanted to back. In addition to that, I think, as I say, because he ran this sort of Trumpian me against the elites campaign, I think possibly he may have tapped into sort of an anti-establishment mood at the moment. Like I say, the LDP recently suffered this election defeat. People are unsatisfied with the way the current government has been going, and so he may have, as an outsider who's been forced out, possibly have tapped into that perception a little bit. So for all those reasons, Saito has made a comeback. Despite being forced out of office in a scandal, he's immediately got back in with a healthy victory, and now he'll resume office as Hyogo governor. It remains to be seen how he does, and sort of where possibly the scandal that was over him might evolve from here, whether anything further will happen with that or any further investigations. But that's going to be fascinating, and I think there's a lot to be learned here from sort of the nature of the social media campaigning and the way that was able to dominate the campaign and sort of reframe the narrative around the former and now once again governor of Hyogo. So absolutely fascinating that, and a lot to be learned from that, I think.